Good morning. How's everybody this morning? Um, I have lost who is here. I had it, but it is gone. I think I saw Linda, my fellow Michigander here, and I'm not sure who else. So if you could repost your comments, I would greatly appreciate that. It will help me to know who all is here, and we'll give a second or two for more people to pop on. And let's see where we're at. I'm going to try something really quick here. And okay, so there we go. I'm seeing Linda's here, Susie is here. Evelyn, good morning. And Linda, my fellow Michigander, Sandy, good morning. I know it's early, but there we go. Now we're getting you where you need to be. Okay, I feel a lot better about that. I was hoping I didn't do something wrong. Okay, so Lois from Delaware is here. Oh, and my local neighborhood Nancy. Good morning. Just got your text. We're on for today. Pam is here from Maine. Pam, you're probably sick of hearing me say it, but I love your lobster. Alice is here. Erin is here. Kathy Dewey's here. Good morning, Kathy. So, what we're going to do today, Jane, good morning. What we're going to do today is we are going to look at ways in which we can make clamshells with our sampler starter set. Okay. And we also have some other fun things in mind for you. Good morning, Jenny. Good to see you. Donna's here. Jane is here. Jane used to live in Delaware. Okay. But I'm glad you're where you are now, and I'm glad you're here, Jane. Go get your ball. Go get your ball. Tippy wants to say good morning to everybody. Okay. So she thinks that because I'm talking, we have guests in the house, which we do. You are all my guests, and I'm so happy that you are here. Okay, so let's take a look at some of our starter sampler set templates. Now we all know that we have 1 inch clamshells here. We have 3-inch clamshells here. That's a given, okay? But did you know that you also have a 2-inch clamshell with your simple circle, your 2-inch simple circle? And if you have the set of simple circles, you have a lot more options for different size clamshells. Did you know our 4-inch arc will make a 4-inch clamshell as well? Hi, Lisa. Lisa's here from Sugarland. And Lee, good morning. You made it. So we can make a 4-inch clamshell here, and we can also make a 6-inch clamshell. And I've got something a little special in mind for when we get to this point, simply because we can do so much fun embellishments that I want to work on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with our 1-inch clamshells. Now, I've got my line lined up here, and I don't have stable tape on both sides of this template because it really is only going to be used one way. I'm going to back up a little bit. Lori is here from Wyoming. Good morning, Linda. Hi. Di made it in. Good morning, Di. Nice to see you. When I do clamshells, I prefer, and this is all a matter of preference, guys. This is not because Kathy says it, it's this way. Don't take it that way. Um, Hopefully you all know me by now, and you know that if you have a different way of doing it that you're more comfortable with, that's okay. I am just fine with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up 5 inches here. And I do like when I have the opportunity to go ahead and put lines when I'm practicing. I'm just drawing the lines in. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. These are my pretend seams. Okay, now go get your ball. So here we go. This is going to be a 1 inch, so it's going to be rather small. So the way I like to do it is I like to come off and come down towards me. And I am going to hold this in my left hand. Okay. What we need to know when lining up with this, and I seem to have lost my little pointer thingy here. Well, it'll show up. I'll use this for now. We can always go get your ball. We can always, Tippy, stop. Go get your ball. Go get it. Go downstairs, get your ball. Okay, so what we can do, I just dropped everything. Big surprise, right? Okay. The way I prefer to do it is I like to come down towards myself. I do like to hold the template in my left hand. And let's take a look at our markings. Okay. The markings show the center. This is the lowest point of the clamshell. And this is going to start out on our seam line. This is a pretend seam line. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I am going to line up this line that's in the center of the clamshell here. And the reason I'm doing that is because that is where my needle is going to stop. That is exactly 1/4 of an inch away from the hook, if you want to call it. I'm never sure exactly what to call this, but what it is it's just where our foot comes to rest. Okay. Now I drop my scissors. Okay, we all know what kind of day it's going to be. I got the dropsies today. That's all right. It keeps things interesting. So I'm going to move you in here just a little bit. Good morning, Kathy. Nan is here. Good morning, Nan. Oh, Lori. Okay. Awesome. Barbara from Orange, Texas. Good morning. It is so nice to see everyone. Okay, go ahead. Put my foot down. I know my foot is set because this is the same one I was using last night and it was set up for that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to set that down, put my needle in. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter where exactly you start because what's going to happen is if you're going far enough, what's going to happen is you're going to have to move it down anyway. And it's not difficult to do. So I'm just going to hold my threads back here, take my 1 stitch in place. Remember, we want to keep those stitches a little bit on the short side when we're making an arc or a curve. And what I want you to notice is I just moved my template. So what happened here, and this will happen, it's not the end of the world, okay? you'll see that this clamshell is higher than this one. Part of the reason that that happened is simply because, one, I was not paying attention. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, put this back in. And when we come back, we're going to fudge this a little bit and fix it rather than pull it all the way out. Okay. What I did was I had my fingers kind of here instead of on my stable tape. And if we look at my stable tape, actually, this stable tape needs to be replaced. When it gets flat and shiny like this, it's not doing its job as well any longer. So, what I like to do, hi, Christina. Nan is here. Awesome. Jane is here. Okay, let me grab this. I'm going to go ahead and put some fresh stable tape on this, and you'll see this comes off clean. It comes off easily, and we'll get this put on quickly here. Okay, and one more over here, and we'll be all set to go again. You know, I don't mind when things like this happen when we're doing a live, simply because I want you to see that we have challenges too, okay? And how we can fix those challenges. And okay, what two things happen here, guys. One is I came down, but second, it moved it out as well. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start here. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch over this at the correct size. Okay, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and put that template back in. Remember to put those stable tapes down against and make sure you're holding on. And I do like to use both hands. I have this thumb here to keep me from going like this. And I have, of course, this hand to keep me from going in the other direction. There we go. We're going to fix that up. No worries. And come right back down. Take one stitch in place when you get to the bottom. And I'm feeling a little out of control here with my template, so I'm going to come over. Now, what I want to do here is I do want to make a little adjustment because what's going to happen is I actually am, my fabric is drying in and it is causing this to just get out of sync a little bit. Nothing to be worried about. And here we go. We've made it to the other side. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. Now you can really see here where I got it and where it needs to be. Sylvia, good morning. Is this live? Yes, Sylvia, it is live. So you get to see me and all my mistakes live on today. Okay. But welcome. We're so happy you're here. Um, okay. I am going to come up now because where we need the next thing to be is on the top. Oh, Sylvia, you're in Canada. Welcome from Canada. Awesome. Okay, so Nan says, when I learned to use this ruler, I thought of skiing. The lift up and skis down. Oh, Nan, I love that. That is so awesome. What a great way of doing that. And We know that you get a lot of skiing in over there, and actually so do we where I live. Okay, so I'm going to come up here. Now, this one, what we want to do is we want to start at the top, and we're going to have this come up from the center all the way around here. Okay, so you see what we're going to do. So now what we want to do is stitch in the ditch. And if you're not comfortable doing it free motion, which is fine, you can always use your sash lee. You could use your 12-inch arc as a straight edge, whichever you're most comfortable with. So now what I've got is I've got myself placed here. And what I'm going to do, what is important on this, okay, is that this line comes straight across the top of the previous row. And when I'm holding it this way, I can really see how it is coming along. And I do have a little further to go. And just take a couple stitches at a time here. And there we go. I got it. And I am using this line to line myself up on the original seam line. Okay. And the other thing I want you to notice is there is a halfway mark coming vertically here. I know it's horizontal because of the orientation that I have it in. And where we want this is we want this to fall right here. So we want it to come through that. And if we can't make it do that, we can go ahead and we can make some adjustments. And I want to show you how to do that. So here we go. Get everything lined up. It looks good. So I'm going to get that out of the way. And I'm going to come down. Again, take your time. Take that extra stitch when you get down to the bottom here. Make sure that you're nice and relaxed. You don't need a death grip on anything. And I'm still doing good here. My fabric has not drawn in too much. And here we go. Now, what I want to show you is if this has to move at all, which sadly this one does not, or maybe it's a good thing it doesn't. What we're going to do is we're going to stitch up to the top, needle down, and then we're going to adjust our template either towards us or away from us, but we want to make sure that this line, I want you to see this good, this line on the template is going to fall right into this valley perfectly. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it this way for you just to get a better angle on it. And now when I did that, the next one also lines up perfectly. So here we go. And you can see just by watching me, and this is different for everyone. I want you to do it whatever way is best for you. I do not stitch this way as a rule because it's my uncomfortable way of doing it. And some people do it this way better. I just find for me that it works better to have my template in a vertical direction. Okay, so here is our 1-inch clamshells. They are absolutely adorable. I love them. I've done a lot of clamshell work with them. I can show you one piece that is one of my favorites. And this was all done with the 1-inch clamshell. There we go. Good morning. Jean is here too. Good morning. Okay, this whole thing was done with 1-inch clamshell. It was done with this template that we just worked on. So you see how versatile it can be. Okay, Nan says she says a little bit on the bias. So that works too. But yeah, 1-inch clamshells, and this is just a little sample I put together. What I do for my samples is I find vintage napkins. This is a vintage napkin, and I put it on fabric, and then I go ahead and I stitch, and it just makes a nice background and something that I can use. I First off, I love vintage linens. It is like the one thing I live for. Okay, so there is our 1 inch. Our 3 inch is going to work exactly the same. So we're not going to go through this right now. We've gone through clamshells, through the 3-inch clamshell many times because I have some other ones that I want to show you as well. I'm just going to turn this around. I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to waste any of this fabric if I have the chance. Yesterday, somebody asked me, what do you do with all of those when you are finished with them? Well, sadly, my husband was here and he heard it. And what I do is basically I just throw them away, okay? However, you all gave me some really great ideas on what I can do with these. I can stitch them together, put a binding on, send them to the local animal shelter. And we do have a very, very good animal shelter here. So, I don't think any of them are gonna end up in the trash anymore, okay? And that's thanks to you all. I really appreciate your input. Okay, the next one I want to show you, and where did I put it here? Well, it was there it is. Okay, I want to show you the 4-inch arc. Now, here's my grid. I am going to put the center line on a center line right here on my grid. And I'm going to move this up until it reaches 4 inches. And it is going to be right at this point. If we go across with our 1/4 inch on either side, that's going to measure 4 inches. Okay, I'll make sure you can see this. If we look from this point to this point and adding our 1/4 inch allowance for our foot, it's going to measure exactly 2 inches. And that's how clamshells work mathematically. From edge to edge on this particular one is 4 inches. From bottom to top is 2 inches. So whatever the width is, we're going to divide by 2, and that will be our height. And that's how I came up with the fact that this is how we're going to make our 4-inch clamshell. Oh, Nan's got a great idea. She said she uses water-soluble bobbin thread. So she's washing her sandwiches and then can use them over and over again. And I think that's a fantastic idea, Nan. Absolutely. Okay, so just to make sure that I'm lined up every place that I want to be, what I am going to do here is I am going to lay my ruler on top of my template, keeping it in place, and I'm going to use my vis-a-vis marker, and there we go. That is the clamshell where I need it to be set up. Okay. Okay. Lisa says, let's take a look. Lisa has a friend who cuts up her samples into small pieces, stuffs them into a pillowcase, hems the opening shut, and then donates to animal shelters as doggy beds. And I have heard of that before, Lisa. I think that again is another really great way of using up our samples. Mary Lou is here, and so is Jeanette. They've just joined us. Nice to have you. Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, this is going to be a little different in that we're going to have to move this with every rotation. Okay, no worries though. Let's go ahead and pull that bobbin thread up. And there we go. Now, the other thing that I like to do is I use partial bobbins, bobbins that I have left that I really don't think I'm going to be using in the future, anywhere in the near future. And I use up my bobbin threads on practice pieces. That's just another great way to use things up. Again, these stable tapes, actually, I don't think I've ever changed them on here. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do basically the same thing, okay? So I'm going to take my one stitch in place, and then we're going to go off we go. Again, holding with both of my hands. When I come up, I want to use this finger here. It's very important to hold this down because if you don't, you see how that raises up there? You could end up with your foot underneath there. We don't want to do that. Okay, so here we go. Nice short stitches. Whenever you're working on something that's curved, you want to shorten up that stitch length just a little bit because our machines only sew in a straight line. And if we shorten up those stitches, it gives us a very smooth curve. Okay, we're going to stop right here with our needle down. Now I'm going to realign. Okay, and off we go. And this is our second clamshell. I don't think we're going to get a third one on here. Okay, guys. But there's our second one. And we're going to stop right there. Yep, we're not going to get a third one. So there is a 4-inch clamshell. And I don't know if you all realized you even had that available to you. And the clamshell process is the same no matter what the size is, okay? Um, Jeanette, awesome. Oh, good morning, Ann from Texas. Okay. Jeanette said she loves So Steady's guided motion quilting. It is the greatest, isn't it? I love it. I fell in love with it and I started doing this 6, 7 years ago now. And you know what? I've almost given up my free motion quilting, which I have been doing for 20 some odd years. So look at how beautiful that is. Now, the nice thing about a clamshell this size is we find it very easy to embellish. Okay. So the next one that I'm going to do, that's our 4-inch. So we have a 1-inch and still got to show you our 2-inch. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the 2-inch and I'm going to grab another piece of fabric. Okay. Uh, Here's one right here. I did already draw it out. And on this one, I'm going to show you some embellishments. Okay. Now our 2-inch simple circle will make a 2-inch clamshell, which is really kind of cool. We already have the markings we need on here. Okay, from this side to this side is going to be 2 inches. So from here to the center is going to be 1 inch. Hi, Bev. Hi, Gwen. So nice to see you here this morning. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew from halfway to halfway. Okay, so let's go ahead. I like to come towards me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a pretend seam allowance here, or pretend seam, I should say. And this one, we're going to show you some little embellishment ideas too. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my template on, lower my foot. Make sure you've got a good angle here, guys. There we go. It's so dark here this morning. I was kind of worried about the lighting, but we seem to be doing okay with it. And foot has to go down first. And off we go. Hold that down, holding my thread. No, I'm going to be honest with you. This one is a whole lot simpler because we're doing an inside curve. Inside curves are always easier. Oh, however, outside curves can be done just as nicely. You saw that with the 4-inch arc. Those of you who've been with me a while know that the 4-inch arc was my nemesis. When I first started ruler quilting, that 4-inch arc and we did not like each other, not one little bit. And so the way I overcame that was practice. I would practice and practice and practice. I think until I was just about blue in the face. But now the 4-inch arc is one of my very favorite templates. So what you think you like and don't like might change with that degree of practice. Okay, I have my clamshell. Okay, Gwen, good morning. If I missed you before, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do a little embellishment. And in order to do that, I am going to tip, just twist my template so that this line of stitching touches the template. Okay. And then I'm going to come up, and I call this angry eyebrows. And I'm going to come back to where I started. I'm going to twist it again, making sure that my template touches this line of stitching that I just put in. And we're going to go out one more time. I'm not going to go quite as far this time. And we're going to come back to center. And we're going to stop. Now, it's just a nice little embellishment. It's nothing really overly fancy, but it looks good. Okay. And we can do that sporadically along this line of clamshells, or we can do it with every clamshell all the way across. It is entirely up to you. The one thing that's wonderful is that these are your projects and they are your decisions to make. So here we go. I'll do that one more time. Make sure my needle is down. Twist my template around. Go up to about the center. Take your time. Remember, it's not a race. The one who finishes first doesn't win a doggone thing. Okay, and we're going to do one more here. We're not going to go as far again. And back to where we began. And we're going to go ahead and make sure our needle is firmly planted. And now we're going to go ahead and make another clamshell. Like I said, the inside is the easiest. It really is. It's the easiest to follow, but it's still important to remember that what you don't want to do is um, you don't want to push or pull on that template, okay? You want to just let the foot glide across it. And I'm going to do one more here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a pretend seam line in here because I want to show you how we're going to come up at the end here. There we go. And we'll have that go ahead and go all the way down. And I can't be sure this is perfect, but it's going to be close enough for the guys we hang out with. Okay, so here's one more. And I'm going to end up on the high spot here. And I did that on purpose because often that will happen. Okay. So now, because I've ended up on the high spot, I know that this needs to be my low spot for the next row. So all I need to do is line it up. I don't need to break thread here. I don't need to do anything. I just need to line up so that my vertical center of my template, I'm going to turn it this way so you can see it better. My vertical center of my template is right here in the valley, okay? The horizontal centers of my template need to just graze the top of the line of stitching previous. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up and I'm going to keep going. And here we go. There is our clamshell. And stop when we hit the top of that previous rotation, making sure that I've stayed lined up properly. We're going to go ahead and go. Now, if you're more comfortable by doing a grid pattern, you certainly can do a grid pattern on your fabric just to ensure that everything is placed correctly. Okay. And when you're first starting doing clamshells, it's not the worst idea to go ahead and do that while you are practicing. Okay, there we go. Now, what I want to show you here is if things don't line up perfectly. And what you're going to notice is here is my valley, but here is my my center. So how I am going to adjust that is I'm going to go ahead and line up that horizontal line here. I am going to, I'm going to do it this way because I don't want that piece of tape in the way. Okay. I'm going to come here and I'm going to stitch to the top. And now I'm going to slide that template over just a hair so this lines up. And I'm going to finish that clamshell. What that's going to do is it's going to go ahead and align us for the next clamshells. And if you look at this real carefully, you cannot tell that I made that adjustment. Isn't that awesome? I think that is so cool. And now what you're going to see is I'm perfectly lined up for the last one. So up we're going to go. And now on this side, we're coming up at the top of the clamshell. And what we want is we want that to be the bottom of the next clamshell. So we're just going to line it up and we're going to keep going back and forth. Okay. And let me look at time. I really need 2 hours with you guys. An hour isn't enough. Good morning, Becky. How are you? Oh, Mary is here. Good morning, Mary. So nice to see you. Okay. Kathy asked a question, and her question is, to achieve the orange peel pattern shown on the vintage napkin, is it best to combine clamshells or circles to minimize breaking, thread, and overstitching? I prefer the clamshells, Kathy. I didn't find that it was difficult. What I did was I went across, back and forth in rows, and then I just turned it and back and forth in rows again. And it turned out just fine. It took some time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went very slowly and very cautiously, and it did take time to do, but man alive, the results are awesome. And you can do this with any size clamshell. So if you're looking for an edge-to-edge design and you don't wanna do 1-inch clamshells on a full-size quilt, which I don't blame you, I don't think I would do it either. You could use a larger clamshell and just do one direction, and then come back and do the other direction. So it really was not difficult. It was time consuming for this size. Okay. Kathy, I hope that answers your question. Okay. So now I want to go to the 6-inch. The 6-inch clamshells, because that's the one we're really gonna have some fun with, okay? We've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3-inch, we have 4-inch, just with 3 templates. Isn't that cool? I think this is awesome. Okay, now we are going to do our 6-inch clamshells, and they're getting a piece of fabric all their own. What do you think of that? Okay, I have here my 6-inch spiral. And what I have done with this 6-inch spiral, it probably looks a little bit different than yours, but that's okay. What I have done is I actually etched some lines in here for myself. Okay, I etched the center horizontal line. I etched the center vertical line. So this is 6 inches from here to here with my foot attached. Now remember, that's going to be with my foot attached. And from here to here is 3 inches. What's cool about this size, and yeah, it's this way. What's cool about this size is you can really go nuts embellishing it. Okay, let me show you some of the ideas that I've had for embellishment. All right, here we go. Let's back up a little bit. This is simply an oval. It's just an oval. This is feathers. This is one of our snowflake templates. This I just free motioned an echo inside. Here I used our hearts on them. You can see that in here I just used 2 different sizes. What you can see is we have endless possibilities with this. It really is. Kathy asked, "Can the new connector templates be ordered through me?" Kathy, yes, go ahead and email me and I will get a hold of you, okay? If you want to send me your phone number, that's probably the easiest way to do it. All right. So, what I have here, and I want you to notice because this is really puffy. This is very, very puffy. And the reason it's puffy is because I used one layer of 80/20 batting and I put a layer of wool over the top of it. The wool gave this an absolutely beautiful loft. I do want to do an entire quilt like this, time permitting. I don't have a whole lot of time, guys. I'll be honest with you. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put my hook in. I'm going to go ahead and line up my halfway point. And I'm going to hold this down as I get around there. Take my one stitch in place, and now I can get rid of that thread, and that frees up my hands. The premise is the same. It never changes with the clamshells. Ooh, I got you guys out of whack here. I'm so sorry. Here we go. There we are. I got you back now. Okay, so now what you can see is my hand is getting in the way. So I'm just going to go ahead and move things around. Again, holding the top of that clamshell down so it doesn't flip up on us. Take your time. Remember, this is probably the most important piece of advice I can give you. Do not push your foot. Oh, I just came off of my template there. Do not push your foot against the template and do not push the template against your foot. Okay? This is not a big deal. I can fix that. Okay? So here we go. Number 2, our second 6-inch clamshell, keeping everything steady and straight. And we're going to just get through these actually pretty quickly. And I'm going to do one more. Now, and I did it again. Oh my gosh, guys, what is up with me? Oh, I know what it is. I don't have enough caffeine yet. mm, Gotta have that caffeine in the morning, eh? I don't know about you guys, but I'm totally addicted to my morning caffeine. Okay, so we're gonna do one more clamshell here. Get my fingers out the way because I really don't want to sew over them. Although this machine, I probably wouldn't end up hurting myself too badly because it is a mechanical machine. It doesn't have the torque that these new machines have. Oh my gosh, the new ones are just enormous. They can, from what I understand, some of the new ones can actually stitch right into your bone. I don't want that to happen to me. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to line this up so that I am going to start at the top portion of the next clamshell on the next row because I need my middle to or my valley to touch the very tip of the clamshell on the previous row. So I'm just going to stitch up to, oh, about here and then make a final adjustment. So I'm going to go into the seam line here. This is our pretend seam. And if you don't want to free motion it, that's fine too. Just trying to keep it equal here and stop right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around. Morning, Jean. So nice to see you. Good morning, Patsy. Susie's here too. Yeah, Susie said, I love that. That's so true. Susie said, these templates are so much more versatile than I'd imagined. And you know, that's so true. It really is. It is so, so true. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to make sure that my bottom of my next template is lined up at so I will stop at the very tip, okay? The other thing I'm going to ensure that I do is put my halfway mark right here, and we're going to make a little adjustment. Remember I said about there, and then we would adjust, and that's what we're going to do, and now I'm going to come back down. And you've seen me do this before. Make sure you have that needle in when you have to stop and readjust things. Okay, I'm gonna come down. It's kind of hard for me to get at this simply because I have a camera boom in the way. There we go. Now I'm going to come up here, making sure that this stays right in the center, and it looks pretty doggone good. If we have to make an adjustment, we will. That's not a problem. Okay, up we go. I'm going to speed myself up a little bit. Make sure that you understand the sound of your machine. You want to be able to understand what it sounds like. I'm just going to move this over a tad. What it sounds like when it's stitching at a speed you are most comfortable with. Once you get used to that speed, what's going to happen is you're going to actually have more control. And down here. And we're going to stop at the top of the previous row. Now I'm going to line myself up again. Oh, this one is lined up quite nicely, actually. I don't think we're going to have to do any adjustments here. And there we go. Go ahead and adjust my hands a little bit. These are huge clamshells, aren't they? Oh, but you know what? All the better to embellish, right? And I'm going to show you some embellishments. This is the part I've been waiting for since we got online this morning. Okay, and off to the center we go. And one more. Oh yeah, Patricia, I do too. I do too. Patricia said she loves this template. Okay, now we're just going to come up to the end. And what's really awesome about this, just like we had before, this is the top. So all we have to do is move it this way for our next row. Okay. Those are some huge clamshells, guys. Those are 6 inch. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break thread here. I'm going to move you in again. And the reason I'm going to break thread is because I hauled out some additional templates, some things that we can do. Okay. The first one that I want to do is probably, look at this mess, huh? One of my favorites. Okay. And it is the Spin Effect Snowflake. And I'm using the number 7. And what I am going to do is I am going to line it up right on this line, and we're going to make a snowflake in here. All right. Actually, let's make more than one. I think we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my crosshair ruler. We're going to do, whoops, I need some more lead here. We're going to do one here. We're going to do one here. And we're going to do one here. Okay. I'm not worried about the bottom so much. But what we can do is we can line this up. And I think I will do that. I will line that up. I need to bring this out more. Does this take time? Yep, it does take time. Is it worth it? Yep, it certainly is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick and put a spot here to line up. And I'm going to use this on my original pretend seam line. Okay, and I'm going to come right out of the center of the valley, that long, lonely valley, huh? Okay. Now, if you have a block that you're trying to do something special in, this is a great way to do it. I'll turn it this way because I want you to see it. Okay. Oh, Nancy overslept. I'm so sorry. Oh, Mary Lou wants to know what pen I'm using. It's one of those compressed chalk pencils. It's like a mechanical pencil. This one just happens to be Fonz Porter, but there are a lot of different brands out there. And then it has different colors of lead that you can put in it. I like the white for this purpose. The advantage of this is you can get a smaller line than the chalk liner. The disadvantage of this is that it is not iron away. You actually have to use an eraser to erase it. It does come with a little white eraser on the end, but as you can see, mine is pretty worn out. So what I do is I just go ahead and get one of these white plastic erasers at my big box store, and it works just fine. Okay, Mary, I hope that answers your question. Patsy likes the idea of embellishment inside. So do I, Patsy. I am Okay, Kate Quinn might be the feather queen, but I may be the embellishment queen. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. We're going to come up from the center and we're going to slow down as we come around here. Get rid of those now. All the way around. And we're going to come down the other side. And back to center. Adjust your hands, take your time. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and move this over. And what you're going to see is it does not encroach on the previous clamshell, but it does. Oh, this isn't going to work, guys. I need to come down further. There we go. No worries. We'll just make our adjustments as we need to. Oops. No worries at all. Now, what I will do is I will remember or try to remember how close I am getting this. There we go. And back down. Back to the center. Now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to twist it this way. And again, it should not encroach on this previous clamshell. What it's going to do is it's just going to skim it, and it worked out perfectly. Just perfect. Okay, and around we go. Right. Oh, that worked out perfect, guys. Absolutely perfect. And with the bigger clamshells, what I love about them, it's easier to embellish them. The small ones, they get a little tricky. Absolutely get a little tricky. So here is our snowflake embellishment. Yeah, Patsy, I agree. I love embellishing them. Okay, so there's one idea I have for you. Well, I've got a lot of ideas, guys. I got to be honest with you. I could spend half the day here showing you different embellishment ideas. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to pull this down. And when I do that, I am going to get my circles between the lines and a drink of caffeine. Okay. So what I want to do here, first have I got to cut that bobbin thread. If you guys have time to stick with me, please do. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a pseudo echo here. It's actually going to start right on the line of the clamshell. And I'm going to use my spacing gauge because I do want this to end up right here. But I'm going to leave some empty space up on top. And I'm just kind of arbitrarily picking the spot that it looks like it, and measures out to 1/4 of an inch. Take one stitch in place, and off we're gonna go. Get rid of my thread there. And just nice and slow, take your time. Whatever way works best for you is the way that you should do this. Okay. Nice little echo, right? I like that. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move you guys back up here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my between the lines, and I know most people go, oh, and I pull out my 1/4 inch between the lines. Okay. What I'm going to do is figure out where I can start making the 1/4 inch circles. And I'm going to start right about here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got them starting and ending at the same line. So I'm just simply, this is not anything scientific. I'm just simply going to draw a line here, and I am going to put, oh, that's going to be too big. There we go. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I am lining this line at the bottom of this template with the line I just drew in. And I want to do the same over here. There we go. And what will happen is, as you can see, that circle is going to come inside of that channel that we just made. So here we go. Pull that up. And we're going to go around 1.5 times. First time, I'm going to go clockwise. And we're going to stop in the center. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this template over. Move it over. Lining up that center line on my template with the center line on my circle. This time I am going to go counterclockwise. Take your time. I know a lot of people, when they're working with circles, think if they go faster, it works better. Actually, I have found just the opposite. Take your time, and I think that it works better. Keep those stitches small, especially when you're working with 1/4 inch. My goodness, you will know how small that is once you start doing it. It is amazingly small. And I'm just going to do one more here, okay, guys? Because I know we're running really late, and I apologize for that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take this out now. And there we go. We could come all the way across here. And in the center one, if you wanted to, and I think it would look pretty if you put right in the center, maybe one that's a little larger. But there's another idea. If you are into free motion, another thing that you can do that I find to be kind of fun is simply meander. But now we've got meander squiggles templates, so we can do the same with those as well. So here we go. Just kind of meander through here. Take your time. And we can fill that whole clam in if we so desire. So these are just some ideas, guys. Like I said, I could spend several hours here this morning showing you different ideas that I have, different things that we can do. I hope that it is beneficial to you. I really do. And I also want you not to forget to like, subscribe, share, and all that stuff that I need to say every time, which I get. "Ugh." Do I sell the meander templates? Mary, I can facilitate a sale for you. If you want templates ordered for you, please email me what you want. It's also a good idea if you could email me your phone number in case I have any questions, and I will be happy to take care of that for you, okay? Um, I want to thank you profusely for being here this morning and being here every Wednesday morning. You guys are totally awesome. You are not just students, but you're friends. And I feel very honored to be able to come into your homes and give you some ideas. And I do learn from you as well. Hi, Janice. I didn't see you come in. Everybody wish Janice a happy birthday. It'll be a couple days late, but we took her out for her birthday lunch on Monday. I do thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and I can't wait to see you again Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Central Time, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Central Time, and 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So, if there's no more questions, I will see you all here next week. Some of you I will see earlier than that, and I'm very excited to do that. And until we meet again, let's quilt.